Another game from the Pro League. This one, I'm not really going to be able to hide the fact that it's a spoiler, because if you can read the center of your screen, you'll kind of know what's going on. This is Wounded Stars versus SK Telecom 1, and this is going to be the ace match, the 5th set. Fortunately, I have no idea what happened in the first 4 sets, so if you are going to go back and watch those, feel free. I don't think, unless you understand Korean, I don't think that you're really going to have anything spoiled for you. But this map is going to be Neo Moonglaive, and it should be a very, very interesting matchup. We've got Zero, the Woonjin star, and he had a tough December, and I almost worry for him because he took his December so to heart. Like, he looked so depressed when as he was playing some of these games. Like, he went 8-10 in the month of December, so he had a losing record in December. But you got to remember the kind of players he was playing. He was playing in the MSL, in the OSL late stages, losing to players like Flash, and I think he lost to, in the OSL, I forget who he lost to. I forgot to someone else in the OSL as well. But, I mean, he was just playing top competition. You don't really get to play 18 games in a month of StarCraft unless you're doing something special. So I hope he doesn't take it too deeply, too much to heart. Definitely watch some of his games, and after, he would just look so devastated, it's like slumping at his computer, whether it was like late in the Pro League, or if it was in a Pro League set, or if it was the OSL or MSL. He just took it so hard. So I'm hoping he comes back here in the month of January, starts off his new year, and does a whole lot better. So far, he's been doing significantly better. I mean, he's 3-1 so far in the Pro League, beating Best, Haya, and Iris. Haya and Iris, probably, I didn't see the games, any of those. Actually, I haven't seen any of these, the new Zero games from this year, but I'm guessing none of those games were really too difficult. And then he has a loss to Killer in ZVZ, which, as awesome as Zero is, his ZVZ actually is just solid. It's not fantastic. It's solid, and he can beat top players every now and then, but it's really not the best around. But I do love Zero, the King of Queens, and I look for him to just get back into Pro League and have a fantastic time again. He did go for a 12 hatch there, 12 hatch 11 pool, just very standard opening. He also got a drone scout here, so he's going to see that there's no wall-in going on, so there's going to be a marine already being produced as well. So this is probably going to be a 1-racks into CC build. That is normally what you see out of Terrans these days, and especially when you don't go for the wall-in, you almost are always going to see a 1-racks into CC. And it looks like Fantasy's also got the scout in as well. Now, Fantasy's had been taking a lot of lumps recently. You know, he went on a pretty long losing streak. I think it was something like 5 games, especially he lost to 4 players consecutively in the month of December of Zerg, Race, Type B, Shine, Killer, and Ever. Lost to all 4 of them, so he's kind of been having some struggles against the Swarm. But his TVT still looks pretty good, beating C and MVP earlier in the last couple weeks. So you know, he's doing pretty solid overall, and but right now he's got to deal with Zero, and this is going to be important for him, that he actually makes a big comeback on the TVZ stage. This is really important for him. It looks like Zero's going to go for a 3-hatch Mutalisk build, and this is going to get completely scouted out by Fantasy. The early links for Zero, it looks like he's only produced 2 of them, and they're just going out to scout, not even bothering with this SCV. So this SCV is going to get a ton of scouting information, and the 1-racks into CC is going up as we speak. But if Fantasy can actually start winning games again, you know, SKT1 has been in kind of a slump. They could really use him coming up with some consistent victories. Usually they're kind of built, I think, like Samsung Khan, in that they have 2 big-time players, Fantasy and Bisu, and then the rest of their players kind of come in and out. It's kind of like Samsung Khan. Jambi and Stork this round have been doing really well, and whenever Jambi comes away with the win, usually Stork will get away with will finish things out in the ace. And it's kind of been that same way for SKT, except Fantasy hasn't really been getting as many wins as he should, and Fantasy's got a couple idle SCVs, a little bit of a misrally or a misclick there. Looks like Fantasy's also pushing out with a few Marines. Not going to have too much success. Might be able to force Zero to throw in a sunken colony, or use at least a few more larvae on drones, which is always advantageous to trying to stop your Zerg opponent from producing too many drones. But, yeah, if Fantasy can start winning, and there he goes, Fantasy finally realizing all those SCVs and getting them back to mining. If Fantasy can start winning again, though, that'll really help SKT1 and get them to get some more wins. This has been a pretty disappointing round for them. I'm not exactly sure of how many wins and losses they have, but they are definitely, like, mid-table. They are not really where they're used to being. They're used to being number 1. You know, they won the Grand Finals last year. That's where they're used to be. That's where they're supposed to be, it almost feels. But not this season, not so far. It's been the KT Rolster show for more than anything else this season. And SKT1, if they want to get back on the winning streak, they really need Fantasy to show up more. They can still expect Best to come away with some wins here and there, but still, it's really got to be Beast in Fantasy. Just like Jambi and Stork, occasionally Fantasy or Firebat Hero might be able to come up with win, but they really need Jambi and Stork to be getting most of their victories. You got a couple Sunken Colonies going up, one being morph, one being prepared to morph if Fantasy comes out for a push, and that's what those Zerglings for 0 are really meant to do. They're meant to just sit there and see whenever those Marines come out, if there's a Firebat or two coming along, and Medics, if anything like that. And once he gets the army composition, he knows how many Sunken Colonies he needs to actually morph in order to defend effectively. And he's also positioned those Zerglings very effectively as well. If those Marines are actually pushed out a little bit too far, he could see a Zergling run by sneaking into the main there. But this SCV does scout it out, so those that little ploy is not going to be too effective. It looks like a few more Zerglings have been produced by 0, but still, overall, he's been droning up more than anything else. His fire is going up. It should be almost completed at this point, at which point we will be seeing 9 Mutalisks pop out for 0, and then the real game starts here. It looks like he's been forced to produce an Overlord there, so maybe only 8 or so to begin with. Might have mistimed when he needed that Overlord to pop out, but should still be in pretty good shape to start his Muta harass. And it looks like Fantasy just building off of these 2 Raxes, starting to get up a bunker, which is probably just to make sure that there isn't a Zergling run by, and just helps him solidify his defense just a little bit more. It's just for a comfort level more than anything. He doesn't truly need it, but it is for comfort level. Actually, throwing up 2 bunkers, it looks like that's kind of odd. I personally don't think he really needed 2 bunkers there, but it looks like he's going to use bunkers to try and defend his natural against those Mutalisks. It's kind of very, very surprising to me. Factory coming up as well, as he's starting to throw turrets around. Normally, you just see Terran players throw up turrets everywhere in strategic locations to force the Mutalisks to pay if they try and corner them with your Marines into a certain section of your base. That is generally how turret play goes, but looks like Fantasy's also decided to throw up a couple bunkers, which is definitely, I think, weird. A little bit different, but we'll see how effective it is. It shouldn't be too big of a deal. It looks like a 3rd base, 4th hatchery coming up at the bottom left-hand main as well for 0. 0 coming in here, going for a little bit of an attack, not being able to do too much of anything, trying to just probe the defenses of Fantasy, trying to see if there is a hole there. If there is a hole, he will absolutely exploit it. Definitely wanted to check out those Raxes. If those Raxes aren't defend, that is a huge advantage for a Zerg player with Mutalisk Micro these days. You can just get right in there and just pick off the reinforcements one by one, and that can just be an awful position for a Terran. But it looks like Fantasy's just perfectly prepared right now. And, this kind of comes down to that SCV scout at the beginning, scouting out that it was going to be 3-hatch high or 3-hatch Muta, that it wasn't going to be any 2-hatch play, knew that it wasn't going to be lurker play. He knew exactly what was coming his way, and he prepared for it perfectly, Fantasy did, and yeah, that's been playing right into his hands, and he's not taking any damage at all. And it's very rare that you see a Zerg player do no damage with a Mutalisk harass, a 3-hatch Muta opening, and come away with a victory. To not do damage and come away with a victory is very, very difficult. He really needs to do something. Coming in here, picking off 2 SCVs, delaying that starport and the science facility as well. Coming in here, picking off a couple of SCVs at the natural mineral line as well. Might be able to pick off a couple of these straggling Marines as they try and slip by that little depot starport wall as well. And he picks off a few there. Doesn't take too much damage. We got some lurkers morphing in as well. So 0 on top of his tech, playing pretty correctly. I think there hasn't been any holes for him to really exploit in Fantasy's defenses, so this is kind of what he has to do. Doesn't want to sacrifice those Mutas. You do see that sometimes as well when a player is prepared for your Mutalisks, and sometimes you'll see some lesser players maybe try and dart in there feeling that they have to do damage all at right now, and will sometimes carelessly lose their Mutalisks. But as long as he does some damage, as long as he keeps the Marine count low, keeps the pressure on, he will be in pretty solid shape. Coming in here with some Lings, and that was not very effective at all. Needs to be careful, doesn't want to lose all those Lings. He's got some Lurkers coming in now. I wish he would have waited just that extra 15 seconds for his Lurkers to join. A Muta Lurker Ling would have been very, very beautiful, but instead he